Hello, my name is Andrew Hodson. I'm the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program Coordinator at North Central High School. Thanks for tuning in. And this is a general information presentation about the IBDP at North Central High School. This is for students or families that couldn't make it to the information night, haven't seen a recruiting presentation, or were able to do those things and just wanted, again, a general overview of what the IBDP is all about. You'll notice that my contact information is down there below. You'll see this at the end of the presentation as well, but feel free to reach out to me either via email or via the phone extension there, and I'd love to set up a time to either speak with you or meet with you one-on-one if you have an interest in the diploma program. First of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about the history of IB and why and how IB came to be, because it's important to understand that the IB diploma program isn't just a course of study. It is an entire philosophy of education, and it's good to understand where that philosophy is rooted before undertaking the diploma program. So the International Baccalaureate was formed after the horrors of the two great world wars, World War I and World War II, and the beginning of the Cold War, where we saw the proliferation of nuclear weapons around the world. And intellectuals and thought leaders at the time looked around at the world. They saw genocide. They saw the death of tens of millions of humans. And they thought to themselves, we have got to find a better way. We've got to find a way to get different nations and groups of people to seek peace and harmony. And they thought education was the best tool to allow for that. And so they created the International Baccalaureate in the late 1960s with a goal of promoting the kind of learning that would make the world a better place. At the same time, you also had the emergence of international organizations like NATO and the United Nations, and you'd have diplomats moving from country to country. We also had the emergence of international, multinational business, and you'd have executives moving from country to country. And so these leaders, these diplomats and business leaders, they wanted some kind of global standard of education where their kids could move from country to country and their education would be minimally disrupted. And so from both this philosophical standpoint of wanting to make the world a better place and also this logistical need for global standards in education, we see the emergence of the International Baccalaureate. So that's how it all began. Here's the International Baccalaureate's mission statement. And let's just take a second to read this and think about it. The International Baccalaureate aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. And there's a lot to unpack there, but you can see that the IB is an entire teaching and learning philosophy. Yes, we want students to be knowledgeable, and students that participate in the IBDP at North Central High School will be participating in the most rigorous diploma program that we offer. And so knowledge will be important. They'll be participating in academically rigorous classes throughout their junior and senior year. And as a result of this, they will become quite knowledgeable about a wide variety of subjects. But that isn't the only thing the IBDP is all about. It's also about developing students that like to ask interesting questions. And in fact, the heart of the DP, the extended essay, theory of knowledge, what we call the core, CAS, all of those things require students who are willing and anxious to engage in creating and thinking about interesting questions and pursuing those answers. It also asks for students that care, right? In order to pursue the diploma program, students have to care. They have to care about their own education. They have to care about their cohort. They have to care about their peers. They have to be involved. And students that participate and graduate with the International Baccalaureate Diploma, they're going to move on to select universities, ultimately to positions of power in business, education, law, government. And so we want graduates to have a strong foundation in their high school experience and move forward into the world. IB wants them to move forward in the world and help create a better and more peaceful world through understanding and respect. So you can see IB's philosophy is about being smart, right, knowledgeable, but it's also about much more than that. Let's talk a little bit about the DP here at North Central specifically. This is our 33rd year with the program. We've had over 500 candidates come through the diploma program. We've had about an 85% success rate with those candidates in terms of getting them to their International Baccalaureate Diploma. Now, again, remember that the International Baccalaureate Diploma is different than a North Central or an Indiana diploma, right? So all of our students they graduate from high school. That's a given. It's do they achieve the additional recognition of the IB Diploma Program diploma? And we get about 85% of the students to that mark. Currently, we have about 30 candidates, which is a little bit of a historic low for us, but we'll talk about the numbers here in just a few minutes. First, let's hear from a former graduate, or a graduate rather, a former participant in the diploma program. This is Mr. Nicholas Yeager. He is currently a student at Indiana University down in Bloomington, and I reached out to him to ask him what makes an ideal diploma program participant. Let's see what he has to say.
Ideal IB diploma candidate is a student who is curious and genuinely interested in learning about the world. They're ambitious and they seek to engage with projects that broaden the scope of their education, involve them with their community, and strengthen their character.
So right there we hear engaged, we hear curious, we hear involved with community. So Mr. Yeager really wants to make sure that students who are thinking about joining the diploma program understand that you need to be coming at this from the right philosophical standpoint. This shouldn't be just about getting into a great college or university. Although you have better odds of that if you participate in the program, and we'll discuss that more in a few minutes. But that shouldn't be your sole reason for doing this. Really, it's about much more than that. And it's about having an internal drive for curiosity and an interest. Let's take a look at the history of the diploma by the numbers. So you can see in blue, we have the number of students that were in the senior class, the senior cohort, for each year in the diploma program over the last 30 years. And you can see we had a low participation, our lowest number of participation in the early 90s, about 1993. We only had 3 seniors participating in the program. And we had our highest participation in about 2014, 2015, where we had 41 seniors who were pursuing the diploma. And you can see it's varied up and down over the course of our history. The numbers in red are the numbers of students, seniors rather, who actually achieved the diploma. So they earned it. And then in yellow, you see that is a percentage. So the percentage of the seniors who actually earned their diploma for International Baccalaureate. So our average number of participants throughout the course of our 30-year history has been about 22 students in each senior class. That's been our historical average. And you can see our average success rate, as I mentioned, is in the mid-80s in terms of actually earning the diploma program. Actually earning the diploma from the program. What are the admissions requirements? Who is it that we look to as our ideal candidate? We tend to admit students that are all AP/all honors on that track. So these are students that across the board in math, science, English, social studies, the arts, whatever they're involved in, they've been in AP and honors classes throughout their freshman and sophomore year. Why is that? Well, there are 2 reasons for why we run the program that way. The first reason is logistically. The way the program is structured, students need to be participating in all of those AP classes in order to meet with us in 10th period to work with our IB, to do our specific IB activities. And then the second reason is that the assessments are pretty rigorous. The IB assessments are pretty rigorous. And so we want to make sure that we're setting students up for success. And the skills that students develop in their AP and their honors courses prepare them well for the assessment tasks that are required by International Baccalaureate. So generally, we're looking for students that have been challenging themselves with that academic rigor to continue on into the program. As I mentioned, it is the most rigorous diploma that we offer at North Central High School. And so, we want to make sure students are prepared for that level of achievement. Are there exceptions to this? Of course. And so, again, if you think to yourself, oh, well, I'm not an all AP or an all honors student, I must be disqualified from participating, please reach out to me. Please, when you think about the application process, go ahead and toss yourself your hat in the ring. I'd love to meet with you and talk with you and see if it's a good fit for you and your academic goals. Let's take a look at what some universities have to say about the program, because I know that many of you will be pursuing the diploma program with the hopes that it might better your chances to get into your dream school. So here's what some universities have had to say. The former head of admissions for the University of Michigan says, a transcript that reveals a student's enrollment in the IBDP courses serves notice to the admissions officer that the applicant is someone who accepts rather than avoids educational challenges. Unquestionably, a school that graduates each year a number of students with IB diplomas has demonstrated its commitment to high educational standards, and that commitment will serve to influence admissions decisions at the University of Michigan. So he's saying two things here. Number one, you're lucky to go to a school that offers the DP, because that means your community has high educational standards for you. And so by admitting you, they're trusting that the school, North Central, has upheld its commitment to developing you into a strong student. Next, he's saying in the first part there that you, as someone who's chosen to pursue the diploma, is indicating to the university that you're ready to accept educational challenges. So whatever that university is going to throw at you at their level, you have demonstrated your interest and ability to step up and face that challenge. Here's what the Assistant Dean of Admissions at Harvard said. Success in an IB program correlates well with success at Harvard. We are always pleased to see the credentials of the IB diploma program on the transcript. And this is an interesting second part here. GPA is not nearly as important a factor in university admissions as the IB diploma. If a student has to choose the diploma over protecting the GPA. What Harvard is saying is that they would rather see a student pursue the full diploma and maybe meet some academic struggles that they wouldn't have met if they didn't pursue the diploma, right? So they're really, again, interested in seeing students challenge themselves and accept the responsibility of taking on the diploma. It indicates to them that that student is prepared for the kind of work they're going to need to do at Harvard University. One last one. Let's take a look at Duke. The director of undergraduate admissions at Duke says, one of the advantages of an IB curriculum is its structure and quality. It is a coordinated program, well-established, well-known, and well-respected. We think the quality of IB courses, and we think the curriculum, we know the quality of IB courses, and we think the IB curriculum is terrific. Again, it's this idea that this brand, the International Baccalaureate, has become known by universities and colleges. It's well respected, and they're excited to see candidates with that on their transcript. Let's hear from another former graduate. This is Leslie Omiba. She was from the class of 2014, and let's hear what she has to say about why she chose to do the diploma program. I was hesitant to apply for and join the IB cohort. However, it was the best decision I made in my high school career. The program was challenging, but not overwhelming. I was able to learn immensely and grow immeasurably from it. I met mentors and teachers who inspired me and changed my perspective on life. I encountered issues that ignited my passions about justice, medicine, and colonial legacies. At every turn, I was met with topics, people, and scenarios that forced me to question myself, my beliefs, my motivation, my purpose, and my calling. Leslie was an amazing candidate. I was lucky to work with her myself. She had to work hard while here at North Central High School. She had a variety of personal circumstances in her personal life that made school challenging for her. She was an amazing, dedicated, and hardworking student. She persevered through those challenges. She wound up earning a full ride to Notre Dame, where she went, completed her undergraduate degree, and has moved on into undergraduate work, and is pursuing higher degrees in the areas of public medicine, and she, with her hopes of going back to her home country in Nigeria and having a profound effect on that nation's healthcare system. Again, we see the ideals of the IB coming through here through Leslie, someone who is going to work hard, is dedicated, and then is going to use that education to work on issues of justice and medicine and try to make the world a better place. Let's take a look at how the diploma program might impact your ability to get admitted to some of America's most prestigious universities. So a group, an organization called Crimson Education Resource did a survey of about 4,000 IB graduates in 2015, 4,000 just high school graduates in 2015, and asked them about their acceptance rates at a variety of different universities around America, the top 25 universities they decided to look at. And you can see the difference in acceptance rates for students with the diploma and students without the IB diploma. So at Harvard, it's nearly a 250% chance increase if you have the IB diploma. At MIT, over 300% increase in your chances of getting admitted. Stanford, over 350% increase in your chances. Northwestern, over 500% increase in your chances if you have the diploma. University of Chicago, over 750% increase in your chances of getting admitted to that university. Across the board, all 25 universities had a higher percent increase if you had the diploma than if you did not. Again, this is because universities recognize that students that have pursued the diploma, the academic rigor that comes with the IB diploma, are going to be prepared for work at their university. Another reason that you might consider pursuing the International Baccalaureate Diploma is because it is, in fact, international, right? And so should you decide to study in London or in Spain or in Brazil, South Africa, Australia, maybe you want to study in China or Japan for your university experience, your scores, the system of education that you've been in will be recognized by universities, not only domestically, but abroad as well. So for some candidates, we don't have many, but for some candidates that are interested in pursuing university abroad, this is a great program as well. What does the structure of the DP look like? Well, IB has what are called groups, and you can think of those as just subject areas. So group 1 is what we would in America think of as English classes. Group 2 are what we would think of as world language classes. Group 3 are our social studies classes. Group 4 are experimental science classes. Our Group 5 are our mathematics courses. Group 6 are our art classes, visual and performing arts. Or here at North Central, you can also take a second science as an elective or a second language actually as well as an elective. And then there's also something that I mentioned earlier in this presentation called the core. And that is made up of 3 components: the extended essay, which is a 4,000-word academic essay that candidates research and prepare on their own with the help of a mentor. They're paired with a mentor, and they work on this essay over a topic of their choosing. So anything that they're interested in, they can choose to create a question, a thesis, do some research, and attempt to answer. So, for example, we've had some students this year choose topics like how U.S. foreign policy in the 70s and 80s caused the migration crisis that we see along the southern border in our current time. We had other students look at the intersection between environmentalism and feminism and how women in poorer countries around the world and the developing world are dealing with issues of climate change acutely. So students that take their own interests and their passions and they create an extended essay with the help of a mentor. Theory of knowledge is an epistemology class. It is a course that is designed to allow students to deconstruct all of the knowledge that they've had crammed in their heads over the last 15, 16 years of their education. And it's a place where they get to think about big questions related to their content. So, for example, right now, my juniors are doing a unit on faith, and so we're asking questions about faith and religion. But we've also talked about, so far this year, we've talked about art, and we'll talk about history and politics. We'll talk about the sciences and mathematics, all kinds of different aspects of knowledge. And then the CAS program stands for Creativity, Action, and Service. And this is IB's way of ensuring that candidates are well-rounded people. And so the creativity part, we're going to ask students to think about and participate and reflect on areas of their life in which they're creative. Action or activity is in regard to their physical well-being. So we're going to ask the candidates to engage in, think about, and reflect on the times when they are able to be physically active. And then the service part, students will plan and execute a service project of their design during their junior or senior year. And so those three components make up what IB calls the core of the program. Let's hear what another former participant, Camelia Mannering, who was the class of 2016. She graduated from North Central and went on to Vassar. And she says, "When I came to college, I realized that not everyone is taught critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Because of the IB program, I was never overwhelmed by my college workload, and I had already developed a sense of time management. Yet above all, graduating from the IB program showed me the power of academic exploration and inquiry. To have your worldviews and assumptions challenged in high school is a great privilege that I would have never found outside of the IB." Camelia is now pursuing an opportunity to become a Peace Corps volunteer, something I participated in after college myself. And again, you see here two things from Camelia. You see both her talking about how the IB prepared her for college, but we also know from her story that she is interested in using the power she has received from her education to go out and try to make the world a little bit better by pursuing the opportunity to become a Peace Corps volunteer. So again, we see IB's mission statement in action from its graduates. I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to learn about the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program at North Central High School. I have much more to share. If you have any specific questions, would like to sit down with me for a meeting, or would like to talk with me via the phone, I'm happy to meet with you or talk. You can reach me at my emails the best way, which is ahodson@msdwt.k12.in.us. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I use this Twitter account to highlight all of the awesome things that our school community is doing, both the diploma program and other amazing things that are going on at North Central High School. And I'd love to help keep you informed about the program that way. Again, feel free to reach out to me, and thank you very much.